AI is not going to level the playing field. It's going to completely divide it. And it's going to divide it between the people who embrace technology and take action and those who sit back and ignore it. Today, I talked to Michael Thorne. He's a realtor and AI expert that I'd met at a mortgage conference and was blown away by his talk. In fact, after he had finished his session, I went into my room and did a deep dive and realized that I was a white belt still playing with these things and I needed to get much better. Michael and I chatted about a couple of things, how most mortgage brokers are using AI to write Instagram captions, which is cute, but it's actually not helping them save time. We talk about AI agents and how they're going to disrupt our industry. We talk about custom GPTs, and we just go down a deep rabbit hole conversation. As you notice, this episode's a little longer than usual. You're going to want to listen to this entire episode. If you are thinking that AI is not the future, AI is today. It's already here, and it changes so quickly that if you're not on top of it, you are going to be behind very, very, very quickly. Hey, I'm Scott Peckford. This is I Love Mortgage Brokering podcast, where we bring guests as well as content for you as a mortgage broker to help you scale and improve your mortgage business, like this conversation with Michael. Before we jump into this episode, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Ownwell. Ownwell is a tool that you can use as a Canadian mortgage broker that allows your borrowers to monitor their home equity and buying power on a monthly basis, sends this really cool report. And what it does is it creates conversations around their home equity, and what their options are. And the brokers that I know that have adopted have been seeing amazing results. Check them out at ownwell.ca/ILMB. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and I'll give you some thoughts at the end. Hey, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Scott, for having me.
Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into being this go-to AI expert. I'm going to tell a little bit about later about how I connected with you, but I'd love to hear your story first.
Well, okay. I mean, let's go all the way back. I'm 15 years old. I decided to become a real estate agent. I go to work
15?
At 15.
Okay.
I go to work.
You're cracked in the head. No, just kidding.
I go to work about a month later as an assistant to sort of learn the business. I get licensed on my 19th birthday. I couldn't compete the way that agents competed at the time because I couldn't grow a mustache and I didn't have money for ads in newspapers. And we're talking about like 1992. And so this is pre-internet. This is like being able to do your business differently. At the time, it was door knocking, cold calling, open houses, and ads in the newspaper. And so I had a very hard time differentiating myself. It taught me to work because I was so young. I mean, I had no sphere of influence. By the mid to late 90s, I partner up with another amazing agent, Jordan Mazie, and we're still partners today. And one of the things Jordan and I were very good at was seeing opportunity and capitalizing on it early if it benefited our clients. So we were very early on having a portal for our clients to have access to documents or to communicate with us. We were very early when it came to being paperless. I think we were completely paperless by like 2004, when it was difficult to be paperless. We were very early adapters with video to communicate with our clients. And so AI is just the next thing in that process. Trish joined our team about 12 years ago, and the three of us have always been sort of how can change be fashioned into an opportunity with our client as being the focus. And one of the great things about my infinite curiosity is my teammates that keep me sort of grounded. They give me room to go off and see new opportunities, bring it back to the team and say, hey, I think this can help us with our client experience. And so, the algorithm changed on my YouTube channel in December of 2022. I started seeing it everywhere. And over Christmas, I went down the rabbit hole and we haven't looked back since.
Right. So AI has been a big thing. So what do you think most mortgage brokers, because our audience is mortgage brokers, what do they get wrong when it comes to AI?
I think they see the low-hanging fruit. I think everyone does. When I'm out speaking, I ask a question at the very beginning, like who's are the what's AI people, who believe they're beginners, who thinks they're intermediates, and who thinks they're experts. And there are no experts. I'm certainly not an expert. It's too new, it's too fast. But there's a lot of people who believe themselves to be intermediates, who at the end of me, giving my presentation, realize they're beginners, because where they see the opportunity, they only see the opportunity as sort of grapefruit sized. And therefore they think that they've got most of it down because they're doing the basics of it. But when I show them the infinite possibilities, then they realize how much bigger and how much more impactful it is. So in the real estate world, most real estate agents go, oh, it'll help me write listing descriptions, right? And I'm sure in the mortgage broker
And
world,
it
there's so,
will.
and it will. But I don't mention that when I speak. I mention the bigger things, cutting a couple hours each day out of your workflow and out of your system, so you can spend more time with your clients. You can increase the customer service. And so I think the biggest mistake is seeing it as a much smaller opportunity than it actually is.
Right. I definitely felt that. I saw you speak at Dustin's event in Whistler, and honestly, after you were done, I went back to my room and locked myself up and just went down deep into the rabbit hole. I played with AI, but certainly didn't realize the all of the way. It's like a giant Lego set,
Yeah.
and but it doesn't come with any set of instructions. Lego, you can build a Death Star and you can build a village or whatever, but
Yeah.
you need the instructions, and so part of it is us humans learning to ask good questions in order to design things that we so that it feels like, to me, it feels like a giant Lego set that I get to play with every day, and I love it.
That is the biggest roadblock for the average consumer, is because we haven't told you exactly what it's for. That responsibility comes on us. And the example I use is DocuSign. We can all explain what DocuSign is very easily because it was built for a very clear and specific purpose. AI wasn't built for a mortgage broker purpose. That's our responsibility to give it that. And that idea that it will do anything you want for you as long as you ask it properly becomes almost paralyzing. Um, but we need someone to sort of show us the examples. And once you start to play with it a little bit, you go, oh, well, if I can make it do that, I'm sure I can make it do this. And then that starts to snowball into you realizing, oh, there's opportunities throughout my day, every day, where I can be utilizing this for so much larger things than replying to emails.
Right. Yeah, because most mortgage brokers think, oh, I can use it to create ideas for social content. And you can, but that is it's like you've got this giant Lego set and all you're doing is building one car.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can make a little car. That's
Yeah.
great. But you could also build a city. It's almost limitless.
It
And I have
is.
found that the more I play with it, the more ideas you get. And you have to be using it, because otherwise you're just not going to see the nuance. And because it grows and changes so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that you've seen how much change have you seen in the last 6 months with AI?
It's incredible. I mean, the really hard thing to get your head around is if there's someone that's maybe more down the rabbit hole. There's not many of us than myself. Yet I'm like blown away every week. Like, that's weird to get your. I get someone who hasn't seen it for 2 years. I can blow their minds for 4 hours, no problem. But for someone who's staying on top of it, still to be blown away by the new capabilities that
What's
just
the newest capability that you've seen in one of the large language models that made you go, "Whoa, that's pretty amazing"?
deep research is incredible. Deep research is the idea that you can create a detailed. See, this is where we're starting to get in. We can go down the rabbit holes, but when we're getting into the agents world, where these will start acting on their own in much more deep things. Deep research, we're used to getting an answer back right away. Now we're saying, here's a task. I want you to go out and solve the problem. Come back to me in a half an hour. And it comes back to you in a half an hour with research that would take a qualified human a week to do. Then that foundation can be built. That information then can be broke down into smaller chunks. So, for example, I had the opportunity to speak with one of the co-founders of Netflix when I was down in Vegas, and we were talking about how Netflix beat Blockbuster by doing the things that Blockbuster wasn't good at, not trying to compete with them on things that they're already good at, right? I mean, that's the clear thing, is it's hard to beat someone who dominates your market as a mortgage broker by trying to go head and head with them with the things that they're
With what
already
they're good
really,
at.
really
Yeah,
good at.
right.
Right. So you can do a deep research right now saying, analyze the pain points and the frustrations and the negative feedback that buyers have when dealing with a mortgage broker getting their first mortgage. And it would go off and it will bring you back a 50-page report of all the places where the pain points are, or the frustrations. And then you can just say, now take that and create me a marketing campaign, or create me a, an email campaign or an ebook or whatever it is that addresses these pain points, or help me put those into my business. So the deep research is just one of the hundreds of ways that I'm blown away by it to get this detailed information in such a smart, intelligent, laid out way that then you can take that information and break it down into 12 blog posts, 30 Instagram reel scripts, an ebook.
Mhm.
It's incredible the level of information it can get now that it can take time. It doesn't have to give us an answer right away, and that's okay. And we'll see this continue where you'll give AI a task, and later that week it'll come back with a result for you. It'll start operating on its own, and we'll see that throughout 2025 and 2026, and that's when AI agents is the big disruption for our business. And
Okay,
and
can you
and and
define that to anybody listening? I think I know what that means, but I want
yeah.
to hear how would you define what is an AI agent?
So right now in the world of AI, those that are familiar with it, we're in this chatbot stage. We're in you ask a question, it gives a response. It sits there and waits for you to ask the next follow up question. It's not taking any proactive measures. It's there to assist you. When we get to the AI agent space, which is starting to happen right now, we will instruct it to do certain things for us. For an example, let's say, low hanging fruit, a blog post. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., without you instructing it, an AI agent that's built to do research will go off, Scott, and read all the mortgage information that's happened in British Columbia over the past 7 days. It'll go to your website and it'll say, okay, what information does Scott have on his website that has a spot missing that on one of these news stories can fill in and add to your topical authority. It will then take that research and put it off to a content strategist. The content strategist will go off and send it to a copyright or a outline writer. They'll send it off to a copywriter. It'll send that finished blog post off to an editor. Editor will make changes, go back to the copywriter, go back to editor, back and forth until it's finalized, and then either wait for your approval for it to be published on your website or automatically do that. Now, all those 5 people involved in that pattern are all AI agents. They're not real people. They're little bots that you've trained your business on. Um, but now imagine your mortgage broker's business with 100 of those. Every single time you get a file sent in, it automatically opens up that files and looks at a checklist and makes sure every document that you need to send an application is there. And if there's anything missing, it automatically sends an email back to the realtor or the client or whomever sending those documents saying, "Hey, we're missing this." Um, we could see agents throughout your business doing all those things by itself without you telling it to do it. And that's where we are. And we'll start to see huge disruption that way. And all this, Scott, is so we can spend time with the people that is going to help us grow our business with the client. That's
Mhm.
the whole point of all of this, in my opinion, is to streamline that back end so that we can sit there and guide buyers through a very complicated process.
Right. Okay. So I've got so many questions from what you've already said that I want to go down the rabbit hole of what are the when you, there's which tools do you use the most? There's chat like of the large language models, ChatGPT. There's Google's Gemini, and what are they good for? So what is if because they seem to all be trying to solve this AI conundrum differently, and they seem to
Yeah.
all have a different. So could you just give me like and here's the thing is guys listening to this, it's probably going to change, but we're going to give you a snapshot today. 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months from now, all bets are off as to what is going to be the best tool. But but then I'm going to tell you to go follow Michael on social wherever you are, Michael, which we haven't got to that yet. But so tell me right now, as of today, what are the different tools, or what do you think they're good for?
Yeah. So a really good AI starter kit, in my opinion, is the $20 plus plan from ChatGPT. You don't want to get hammered by question limits. So if you get in there and you start having a conversation, you get to rate limits, then your business is on pause until you get it. So $20 a month, ChatGPT. It's probably the best, well-rounded, all-around model that's easy to work with. You get custom instructions, you get custom GPTs, that sort of thing. The next tool that I think is absolutely phenomenal and it's free is Google's Notebook LM. I think Google's Notebook LM, especially in the mortgage industry, is an absolute crazy tool. And then
For
and
what?
then
Okay, what's the difference between what would I use Google Notebook LM for versus ChatGPT
sure.
if
So
if I'm a mortgage broker?
yeah, so Notebook LM is this place where you're able to put documents into a box, and therefore, you can have it only ask questions and pull information from what's in that box, opposed to ChatGPT using all of its knowledge. You're saying only use your intelligence for what's in this box. So, an example in the real estate business for me is all the strata documents, 750 pages of strata documents in one box. And therefore I can say very quickly, what's the contingency fund? What is this? What is that? What, give me a roof condition report. What's the age restrictions? And it instantly pulls back all that information because it's only looking at that information in that particular box. And Notebook LM will tell you where it got every single piece of that information. So you can quickly click on the response and it takes you right to that page in that system. The other thing too is it's isolated from the internet, there's a privacy layer there. So sharing some documents that are more private, especially if I have the plus plan for Notebook LM. You don't need it; it's free. You could use it tons. I've got a next level of encryption, but you guys deal with so many incredible deep documents, and you're trying to summarize a buyer's ability. And once again, I'm a realtor. I don't do what you guys do, but you have to put some sort of a proposal forward to a lender, that buyer's sort of credibility on a couple pages. Well, when you get all those documents, you can say summarize it following this template, and it goes through and it can take hundreds and thousands of pages worth of documents and summarize it down because it only has access to those particular documents. So,
Right.
I mean, it's such an amazing game-changing tool. Yeah, amazing. And so Notebook, ChatGPT, I'm nowhere near feeling confident putting any of my clients' documents or contracts or whatnot into ChatGPT. And all of you guys should be very, very cautious of that. And obviously you have to follow the restrictions and guidelines and ethics of your industry. But Notebook LM is just a phenomenal place to put a bunch of information into a box and then have a conversation about that information.
And what about the other ones? Yeah, what's the other ones?
Yeah, the third tool that I use constantly is Perplexity.
Yeah.
Perplexity is anytime you're about to go search something on Google, go to Perplexity instead and just give yourself a bit of a feel. It's free. You get 3 pro searches a day. But just instead of getting one answer from one website, you're getting one answer from 30 websites. So if I were to write in there, okay, give me a summary about I Love Mortgage Broken podcast, it would go through and it would pull all this information and present it in a way. Or if I say, hey, I'm about to have a meeting with the client and this is my client's name, give me 4 or 5 meaningful ways to connect with this person. It will go and look at their history and serve you up something from a bunch of different websites and present it to you in a very digestible way. Perplexity is just incredible for taking Google search to the next level.
Oh, one of the things I've noticed about using these tools all the time is that I'm going there for most of my questions first. And is there a world where you see customers going to these tools instead of coming to professionals? Because I love being in the mortgage business and I love AI. And there's a 5% of me that's a little bit terrified of how good it is at answering complex questions.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of middle people in what we do. I think anyone that's at the client, at the face-to-face portion of it, if they go all in on the human relationship, they're okay. I think mortgage brokers and realtors that pull away and try to put this technology between them and the consumer, they're the people that are in danger because they are allowing that relationship to be farmed out to technology. I think back to a recent episode that you just had with Renee Hoos, who I met up at Whistler 2 as well, who's really going down the AI rabbit hole too. But I mean, her message is her value is customer experience. Her value is talking to the client, building that trust, building that knowledge. And that's ultimately where we are. When we first, as real estate agents, and a lot of you mortgage brokers remember us, being able to give the information to the public, right? And they can start seeing the only information opposed to coming us for all the information. We thought, our purpose is over. And that's not true at all.
I'm asking the question, not that I believe that that's actually the answer. I just wanted to know
I agree.
Your answer. Yeah.
I agree. I think a lot of us are worried about that.
Yeah.
I think if you use this technology to forfeit your humanity and your customer relationships, then you deserve to get that. I think it's going to turn out poorly for you.
Right.
If you use this to amplify the guidance we provide buyers and sellers through a very complicated and increasingly complicated process. When I started in this business, Scott, our contracts were 3 pages long. That's it. No addendums, no fin track, no this, no that, no none of it. 3 pages long. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. This process is getting more and more complicated. You've got you got property vacancy tax, you've got foreign buyer this, and all these things, and all these exemptions that exist. It's only more complicated. And so, does AI have amazing general knowledge? I think so, but do they know what's happening in Walnut Grove, in Langley, BC? I I don't know if I trust the AI that way, and I don't think the consumer does. But we have to stay hyper focused on customer experience and the humanity of what we do. I think we're okay. But if we start to farm that out, deservingly so, I think you're in trouble.
Right. And I also think it's better to understand how these tools works than to ignore them and think. I think if the metaphor I've thought of is, remember there used to be horse and buggies and then the gas engines came out, and people who still have the horse and buggy, if you resist learning how a gas engine works and how to operate it, you are going to at some point have a massive disadvantage, and you're better off to, because the reality is that it will create new capabilities. Like the gas engines created whole new industries, like
Yeah.
for instance motels, because people could drive long distances. Like motels where people would pull up and stay, they came as a result of gas powered cars, because prior to that people didn't travel all that far unless it was on a train to go, just to go tour around. That was a new thing that became possible, and AI is going to do that. We just don't know where those things are going to be. What is going to be the future version of the motel? And so get in front of it. Do not be afraid of it. Do not ignore it, for sure, and implement it, like you said, in any place in your business that you can.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question then. So what does your day look like? How are you using it? So if I was to follow Michael around for 24 hours, where are you using AI in your day for just different tasks? Just want to get a sample of looking over your shoulder. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff is streamlined, and we continue to work on it. So a lot of the stuff I do, I've got custom GPTs, and that's another thing that any task that you're doing repetitively that has a structured system, you can just create a custom flow that you just pop in and have
Okay,
it
can you
done.
define? I know I've got a couple custom GPTs,
Yeah,
and what that I've built. But what do you define what a custom GPT is, and then
yeah.
maybe give an example of one that you've built for what purpose?
Sure. So a custom GPT is a wrapper around, in this case, ChatGPT, where you have said, "I want you to use your incredible intelligence to do this specific task," and then you talk to it. You can just have a chat with it. You tell it what that specific task is, and it will follow those rules every single time. So, for example, I could give it all the stats from the current month. The number of new listings, the number of sales, all those information that we do for our market updates. And it takes that and it outputs it in our market update format. It analyzes it. It does the math between what it was the previous month, and then interprets those patterns into a
Oh wow.
paragraph or two. That's what's happening in the market. Hey, we're seeing this and this is the result of these things happening. And it's structured exactly the way I want it as an output because I've trained it. So you can build them for anything you do repetitively. For example, you could feed it 2 or 3 documents that will always pull the same information out and turn it into a summary. Or you could feed it a bunch of PDFs, and it will add up the total of every invoice, in that PDF, and put it together and total it up and put it into an Excel spreadsheet for you. I mean, any task you can build these things to do for you, these repetitive things. So once again, it's looking at your business and going, oh, what do I have that's repetitive, that if I gave a digital employee, if you were to have an assistant, on an online assistant, could they do the task? Meaning they don't physically have to be in your marketplace, they don't physically have to meet with your client, all those things. A custom GPT can eliminate 70% of those tasks, and they're very easy to train. I mean, just having a conversation with them, I've got about 20 that I use regularly, and they're incredible. And once again, they just keep getting smarter and smarter as these new models keep coming out. I mean, we just had O3 and O4 Mini come out this week, and I'm once again blown away.
What is the difference between O3 and O4 Mini? What compared to the previous?
So O3 has tools now. So it's almost like a deep research now. You can give it a task, you give it a question, and it will go off and do some research. It'll come back, it'll write something, it'll go, okay, I'm going to go do some research. It goes back on the internet, it'll write some Python script to try to figure something out. It'll analyze something and it'll work on it for a little bit. And 7 minutes later, it gives you a result that blows you away. And so the intelligence is almost genius level now. It scored 138 or 140 on the IQ test. So we're talking about really, really intelligent, but also have the ability to go off and analyze things, and it works through the process. And so if you're building business plans or, time management protocols or whatever it is, it's super, super intelligent, and it takes its time. And that's really the difference if you've been using AI from a couple of years ago to now. Is when we originally started using AI, would ask a question, would get an answer right away. It didn't think through the process. But now these models, Gemini's doing it, Claude's doing it, ChatGPT's doing it, where you ask it a question and then it thinks and it works through the problem. It just doesn't answer you, because that's not the way humans work. You wouldn't walk into an employee's office, give them a task, and expect them to just start saying that, like, no, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to look some information up. I'm going to run these, I'm going to crunch some
Right.
data. And so we're seeing things take 3 or 4 minutes, which seems so incredible, but just a level of intelligence it's just incredible. I mean,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
incredible.
I've created a couple. One of them is my voice, which is my marketing team uses when I'm leaving comments or captions on things, and it's been programmed in how I communicate.
You're
And
talking you're talking about custom GPTs.
custom GPT, yeah,
Absolutely. I think that's one of the priorities, is to make sure that it sounds like you.
right. And so that is one that I've made. I made another one with scripting experts. I've taken all my training on sales scripting and put it in there, and you can ask it questions, and the answers are so damn good.
Yeah.
It's shockingly good at basically taking this chunk of data, and this is not like client data, it's my own data, and I'm basically able to do this scripting coaching, which has been amazing. And yeah, I love this idea. So it's kind of like a mini AI agent in a way, but it's also, if back to the Lego metaphor, you've given it some parameters because you can do anything with it. It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
want you to be this. I've got one that's a speaking coach. When I upload my conversations, and it checks the number of filler words I have in a conversation, where I was losing influence, and it analyzes it all based on a set of parameters that I've already programmed. And
Yeah.
it's incredible.
It's incredible. I mean, once you start doing that, now you're using its intelligence, but you're giving it the knowledge specific to your use case.
Yeah.
When you combine those two things, you start to, like, once again, I'm blown away all the time with it. I think custom instruction or custom GPTs is a really great use case for what we do. We're in a very repetitive business, more so mortgage brokers than realtors. But you're sort of rolling through the same hoops all the time. And so being able to streamline those repetitive tasks, which allow you to get to the result quicker and then free up hours in your day to pursue more time with your family or more time with client care or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That the opportunities are enormous.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. Then, so we talked about custom GPTs, we talked about AI agents. You talked about not putting AI between the customer and you, but using it more as an enhancement of you. Or I think one at your talk, you'd said essentially it's an expert on almost any topic, and you just need to know. And if you don't even know the questions to ask, you can ask it, what questions should I ask you? It's like, it's so encouraging. You've seen this too, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You hire a website developer to develop your new website. You know nothing about website development, but so you've hired a website developer. You sit across the table from them in a coffee shop, and you try to articulate to that expert what you're why you're hiring them, and what you're trying to achieve. That website developer has the skills to interpret what you mean and put that into action. And that's exactly what AI is. You don't have to be an expert in the field. You just have to articulate the same way you would to anyone. I'm not a bathroom renovator, but I can explain through showing a couple photographs to a guy saying, this is what I want my bathroom to look like. I want it to be a little bit of this photo and a little bit of this photo, and I want it to be clean lines and minimal and whatever it is. And then they put that stuff together. And that's what you're talking about. As long as you know what you're trying to achieve, All you have to do is kind of articulate that. And one of the best use cases is the advanced voice mode for that. To just go on a walk with the advanced voice mode and
Okay,
just
what
have
is
a
the advanced voice mode?
so in AI, in ChatGPT, there's a little button on the bottom right hand corner that has like wave files, and it
Mhm.
allows you just to have a conversation. And this is very important for people to understand. When voice mode first came out, what it would do was it would hear you say something, it would turn what you said into text. It would respond to the text by responding in text and then turn that text response back into voice. And what that did was it was only reading the words and not listening to your voice. So now with advanced voice mode in this multimodal world, it's not translating it into words and then responding to you. It's hearing your voice, which means when you say something with enthusiasm, when you say something with intensity, it infers more information than just the words you're sharing. So you're going for a walk with your dog. I do every day with my dog, Finn. I got my headphones in and I say, hey, chat, I want you to have a conversation with me for the next 30 minutes about, everything someone needs to know about staging a home. And then at the end of it, I want you to write a ebook about or a deliverable
Shut
that
the front door.
yeah, of course. And I come back to my office desk and it's there. I do it all the time. For example, Renee Hoos. I was showing her the example of it. We were in Whistler and I just put the phone down in front of her and I said, hey, chat, I'm sitting with Renee Hoos. She's a mortgage broker out in Calgary. I want you to ask her 7 to 10 questions about what's happening in the Calgary real estate market when it comes to mortgages. I want you to listen to every answer she's giving. And I want for that to infer the next question. And at the end of it, I want you to take all that knowledge and create a market report that buyers and sellers need to know. And it just asks you the questions, you answer the questions, and it creates something. So you have an expert in your head all the time where you just have to talk. I'll be in the car for a drive, going to go see my son. He goes to university about 45 minutes from now. And on the way, I'll just create a new marketing piece by just talking or, a program or whatever it is by just talking. And when I get to my desk, it's built it for me. It's it's
Wow.
it's incredible.
That's crazy. A couple things that I've played around with. What Notebook LM, when I heard about it from you,
Yeah.
I took a TD broker kit, which is a 42-page PDF that explains all of the TD broker policies, and dropped it in there and said, create a podcast. And within less than a minute, it made a podcast where two human sounding people talked about all the important points of that 42-page document. And it was really good. I thought, oh my God, that's so crazy. That was an example but
But
yeah,
Scott, before you move on,
yeah.
and now when you're listening to that podcast, you can click a button and it says, "Oh, we've got someone who wants to ask a question about what we just talked about. What would you like to talk about?"
What? You can? You can
Yes,
actually talk to it?
you talk to it and you go, hey, I was wondering that TD program like this, how does it different between first-time home buyers and a repeat buyer? And if they'll say, great question, Scott, and it will answer your question right then and there, and you can join the podcast, and it's mind-blowing.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Okay, what's the difference between the $20 a month and $200 a month, like the more expensive GPT? And what are the capabilities that you're getting? I'm pretty sure you have the more expensive one. What are the capabilities you're getting with the more expensive one?
I have the $20 plan.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, the 200 is crazy. I think that's for people that are using O3 a ton. I don't see any use for it. If you're just crushing it and you're using it so much, then it might be some value. I use the $20 a month plan. I'm more than happy with its capabilities.
And you use that audio thing you talked about. Here's what I can think of right now. The first thought I had was, go out, say, hey, this is who I am. It knows who I am anyway, because I'm fed so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
Ask me questions that would be interesting to my listeners as mortgage brokers, and I will answer them to create content ideas. And then when I'm done, summarize it all and now I can create my content because the way I get most of my ideas for content now is I talk to mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
When I talk to mortgage brokers, because I got the information in my head, I need somebody to ask me the question to bring the information out. Well,
exactly.
I could actually just get AI to ask me all those questions and pull all that ideas out of me, but then record it all and then use that for my content plan.
Yeah, and then think about that person interviewing you because also have the ability to have listened to every single one of your podcasts. You know what I mean? Like to have all that knowledge. The advanced voice mode is incredible. And that's the thing is, we think of using a large language model AI as being this very, very, very smart system, and we're using all this knowledge. And I think that's where we all start. But one of the most effective ways is to isolate its knowledge either in Notebook LM saying, I only want you to look at this box, or by telling it to go to your website. I want you to go to my blog post. I want you to read my blog post and then create 4 to 7 standalone Instagram scripts. So using all of its knowledge or saying, I only want you to focus on this particular knowledge. But one of the most useful cases that most of us don't think about is making us the knowledge, having AI pick our brain because we're the expert. And so now you're able to, like anything, if you just ask me the questions, I'll answer the questions, I'll fumble through them, and then you'll polish them up. I mean, it's just so easy to have that person just ask you questions. And it's just like talking to another human being when you're out for a walk, you come back and you've got a month's worth of stuff planned for you. It's magical.
Right.
And so you're the expert. You're just saying, I want you to interview me. I want you to get the information out of me by asking the right questions. The intelligence is off the charts on how it gets the information out of you.
And then can it also, so I've got a Facebook group with lots of mortgage brokers. Can it actually see that, or where can it go and where can it not go? So where's limitations?
Yeah. So one of the things when it can go through search is and it's different because Gemini seems to be able to do it better. Once you get behind locked doors, where there's a username and a password to get in, like a Facebook, it can't really log in for you unless they're publicly facing posts. But we are months away from it being using your desktop where it will just log in as you and go analyze all the conversations you've had on Facebook and put all that details together and go in your private Facebook groups. And, I think of all these people that have all this information. Let's say you've got a private Facebook group for all your past clients. You get the same 10 questions over and over and over again. For it to look back on the previous 10 years of questions and answers and then turn that into a chatbot that knows how to answer every single question because it's got this database of knowledge particular to your clients. I mean, we could talk. I mean, I could share something 3 hours from now, Scott, that will blow your mind. And that's the thing I'm probably most worried about is the speed for most people, mortgage brokers and realtors, is so fast that I think a lot of people are waiting on it. And I think that's a concern too as well. It's not going to wait for all of us to get comfortable with it. And it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think you'd said this, or you talked about this, was the idea that AI is not going to level the playing field. It's just going to expand the gap between the action takers. You're talking about Renee, the people who see it and take action, and the people who don't. The gap is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the example I use when I talk is I show the Konami cheat code. I don't know how old you are, Scott, but there was a cheat code for Contra and Konami games: up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. And what that did was that gave you unlimited lives when you're playing the game.
Yeah.
And that's what AI is. It's a cheat code. And I don't know how my friends could compete against me in a game where I've got unlimited lives and they've got 3. But that's what this is. I don't know how you compete with someone or a team of mortgage brokers that have amplified their business. I mean, it's black and white. Study after study has shown the impact that AI has on productivity and quality of output. An MIT report found that professionals like us, Scott, were able to reduce time on task by up to 80%. That means what takes you 5 hours to do takes me 1. Mm-hmm. And then it also found that the quality of output rose by 40%. That means what takes you 5 hours takes me 1, and my 1 hour is 40% better than your 5. So I don't know how you compete.
Right. You have to, if you're not, and then, okay, so those lead to my next question. We'll wrap up here in a sec. What, if somebody's new to this, where do they start? Where would you recommend? They know about AI, but what's the entry level for them to get into it?
Well, we're building a program right now, and certainly not here to sell anything, but we're building a program because I got off stage for 2 years, and that was the problem. That we're ready to launch a monthly training program, because that's the problem: is where do you go where do you go now, and how do I stay on top of it, and how do I not get left behind? It's such a concern, and I get it. And so even if you catch up and you get your head around it today, tomorrow it's going to change again. And one of the biggest fears is being left behind. And I get it. It's real. Try to think about, I mean, right now we're recording this over the internet and I can see you and you can see me, and it's recording our audio on separate files and it's going to put it all together. I mean, think of the amount of time, Scott, that today by accident you've interacted with the internet. I mean, just by accident.
Right.
AI will be much bigger than the internet. And that's really hard for us to get our heads around. It will have a much bigger impact on our professional and our personal lives than the internet. And as someone who was a realtor before the internet came along, that's hard to get your head around. But that's
Mhm.
where we're going in a very short period of time. And it's not waiting for anybody. Um,
Where can people find you online if they want to look you up and see what you're up to and
yeah, I don't spend it's one of the things. I don't spend a ton of time on social, but if you want to pick my brain, you can get me at on Facebook Messenger at the letter I, the letter M. So I am Michael Thorne, Thorne. You'll find me. There's a photo of me wearing a beard, and you can pick my brain there for sure. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes it really easy. Well, this has been really fun chatting with you, Michael. Thank you for sharing. And let me know when you put this program or whatever you got together. I'll definitely let the broker community know when I know you. When you know, let me know.
You got it. I mean, Scott, we could do one of these every 3 months and we'd still be scratching the surface. And I think that's one of the key takeaways for people is like, we're just scratching the surface of what it's going to be. And so I hope
And it's
get
going to
inspired.
change 3 months from now. This thing's capabilities will blow our minds again. It's
Absolutely.
awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks again for listening. Hopefully, you got some inspiration from my conversations with Michael. I know I did. I'm going to be using that chat advanced voice recognition tool and playing around with that a lot. Maybe I'll share some of that. One of the things that I also do every week is I create this 3-2-1 email. I put out 3 things to check out, 2 content ideas to copy, and then 1 thought from me. It's sort of my version of the James Clear email, but it's specifically for mortgage brokers. Very useful, and we fill it full of useful tidbits and tips for you to use. If you want to get on that email list, just go follow me on social. You can see it in my link tree, or you can click on this episode. There will be a link to get on there. I promise you it'll be the most useful email you get as a mortgage broker every week. Thanks again for listening. And as I always say, there's no problem in your mortgage business that someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem is who's got the answer. This podcast is designed to provide some of those answers. Thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.